With me now, Bronwyn Williams, partner at Flux Trends, and we are talking about space commerce. I wouldn't have thought this was going to happen in our lifetime, but it looks as though it's a trend we better get on because it is here. And you've got companies like SpaceX, you've got Virgin Galactic, SpaceX, apparently 4 multi-million-dollar charters to space already sold. Bronwyn, give me a sense of where we're going with this one.
Yeah, so they've been taking money for space tourism for some time now. Virgin Galactic was the first one. They sold those infamous $250,000 tickets for very, very wealthy people to go on a sort of a joyride or a cruise to nowhere in space. And that's taken a bit longer than we expected to actually get up into the air. It's been just months away, according to Branson, for quite a long time. But now we're starting to see signals that it really is starting to happen. So they are actually, Virgin Galactic that is, they've already started training their passengers. The passengers have been going for astronaut training, which shows it is getting imminent. And then of course the SpaceX one is actually likely to happen first. They planned that first private charter flight. So you can think of it as a trip on a private jet, but not a jet, a private rocket that is being implemented by the SpaceX team, that private individuals be able to take their special guests on trips into space and even around the moon. And they've got their first one scheduled now for September. So if all things go to plan, and so far when Elon says he's going to launch a rocket, he has, it looks like space tourism is about to be an actual thing, and it's going to involve a whole lot of jobs for people coming forward, because there's other companies that are wanting to set up not just sort of space flights, but actually space hotels that they're hoping to have online by around about 2027, which is definitely within our lifetime, if not within our budgets.
Yeah, and that's exactly the operative point here, if not within our budgets, because this is clearly the billionaires' playground, and it's probably going to remain as such for some time going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Although one of those billionaires that has booked one of Elon's commissioned flights is offering to give those tickets away to people that can persuade him why they should come with him. So have a look at what's going on with that moon trip. He wants to go around the moon. So if you get lucky, you might be able to get onto that flight.
So now beyond space tourism, we've also got space mining. And this is a field that I'm very light on in terms of data. But can you give me a sense of what we are talking about here? I know it involves mining of asteroids.
Yeah, so that's the thing. Asteroids are obviously very, very rich in the metals that do tend to move our commodity markets, all those very delightful things. In fact, there's one asteroid that astronomers have their eye on called Psyche, that apparently the minerals buried inside it are worth around $700 quintillion. That's a lot more than most of the metal mineral
Quintillion.
Quintillion. Yeah, we don't even use those numbers yet. But that's how big the opportunity is. You can see this as being a very, very big carrot. How practical it is, there are still some considerations to get over. Some people are quite skeptical about the field, but realistically, people, if they are able to get funding, the technology does exist for space mining companies to go out, dig up minerals and bring them back to Earth within around about a 15-year timeline. That's where things get tricky from an investment point of view, because not many VC firms and private investors are prepared to wait sort of 15 years to get a return on their investment, and they've got exciting things like Bitcoin and Bitcoin that they can get a return on very, very fast. So there have been challenges funding that, or there have been some quite high-profile companies that got quite close to getting funded enough to actually start exploring this area. So it's interesting from an investor point of view. Keep an eye on that. If space tourism takes off, space mining is the much bigger catch, just a little bit further ahead of that pipeline.
And then, of course, Space Force. Now, don't tell me that the next war will be fought in space.
Well, it's already been planned. This is the thing. So America has come up with its very Star Wars-esque sort of terms for its military branch in space. They have literally taken the name of Space Force. The UK has also developed something similar, and China is setting up or plans to set up a military base on the moon in conjunction with partners like Russia. So it is very, very interesting that people are sort of staking out their claims in space from a military geopolitical perspective. And when you sort of zoom out, whether you are an investor, whether you're concerned about the economy or concerned about security, this makes a lot of sense, because so much of our information systems are dependent on satellite communications right now. This is critical infrastructure for a country. You have to be able to defend that space. It's space, there are no clearly defined rules and borders. So we can have different types of attacks that could be a problem from a geopolitical perspective. The first one being people attacking each other's satellite networks to sort of take them offline. So information warfare attack. That's just the one layer though. There's also the concern of space warfare. So satellites being militarized and actually being used to attack terrestrial targets. So it becomes a real concern on various layers of the geopolitical playboard, from a personal defense point of view, a physical defense point of view, and also from that information networks security point of view going forward. And stakes are very, very high there.
Africa lagging in terms of the deployment of satellites, that could have a huge impact on us going forward.
Yes, so it's quite interesting. If you want to have security over your own information networks, it's ideal that you own your own satellite networks rather than having to rent them from another geopolitical power. Obviously, it'd be better if we can own our own. Now, Africa's already got 19 countries that has been involved in some sort of satellite launches of some sort. South Africa is one of the leaders there, but I think, in fact, Egypt has launched more satellites than we have, so we're not even winning our own continent's game right now. But last year, Africa only did one satellite launch, which is quite far behind the other larger geopolitical powers, which is a point of weakness, especially as we look ahead if we're wanting to improve our standing and influence on the geopolitical sphere. But all is not lost. We have actually pledged to, I think, spend twice as much as we did last year on satellite launches this year. A lot of those launches were deferred last year due to COVID and all the uncertainty that was going on right then. But Africa does have its eyes literally on the skies, and there are many opportunities for investors and entrepreneurs to get involved in that space.
Bronwyn, as always, thank you so much for giving us the lowdown, this time on space commerce. Bronwyn Williams is a partner at Flux Trends.